There we go.
Okay, I can hear you now.
The nose whistle.
Good question is, can you guys hear you now?
Yes. But it could be something on my end. Danny, are you there?
I'm here.
No, I hear double Danny too.
Danny, do you hear you?
Yeah, just a little bit, but not I don't know, the way that the headphones and stuff cancel the sound. Hard for me to hear myself.
Shh, get better headphones, Dave.
Yeah. How dare I with my amazing gaming headphones?
How dare you, indeed. Okay. So is this better or worse than Discord?
I don't know. It's up
Sounds
to you
way
how
better
it
to
sounds
me.
to you. I mean, it literally just depends on you, man.
Oh, man. The pressure. Such amazing pressure. Well, shit. I guess that's an intro. Timing is everything.
Is it?
Yeah, not my strongest work, I gotta say.
I don't know. Felt pretty unscripted to me. Well done.
I was gonna say, yeah, purely unscripted.
I'm really going for that unscripted vibe there just to really screw with Seth. We're going to be so bad that there's no way anyone could script it. That is
You're
the plan.
it.
Oh, thank you. Multiple years of
bad?
crushing it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Welcome to a socially responsible Mob Rules. Brought to you via the power of Skype, like so many of those other podcasts that we've said mean things about for using Skype. I'm John, joined as always by
Dave.
And Danny.
And yeah.
I want a cool nickname.
Oh, yeah, because Danny has the Eagle now. We christened him that as the better, more American Falcon.
Right.
You could be the Peacock.
I don't feel like a bird is the right thing to go. You know.
No, you're right. Dave the Squirrel Eaton.
Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah, I could be down with that.
But a peacock just flashes its ginormous feathers and makes everyone look at it, but then under any real attack runs away. Yep,
Okay.
that joke landed really badly.
Wow.
Peacocks
Good times.
Are really mean, dude.
Maybe I'm a peacock. You gotta let me soar.
You gotta let me fly. I'm a peacock.
I watched that movie, actually, for the first time a couple nights ago.
God, I
really
should
good.
know. I should
So
know
good.
what movie it is, but I don't have a clue. I'm sorry.
It's The Other Guys.
Thank you.
Peacock, you gotta let him soar.
It was
What was the
so-
other one where he learned ballet for 5 years to make fun of the gay dance kids?
Yeah.
Man, wow, what haven't I been up to 40K wise the past couple of weeks? I bought
Spoiler alert! It's gonna sound like we all just built stuff and painted it because that's what we've been doing.
Whoa there, overachiever. I bought
Painting shit. Get
Yeah.
out of here.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I
Just
bought
me
some
then?
stuff. Dave, I still owe you money. You picked me up a box of Havocs. I'm gonna combine that box of Havocs with a Forge World upgrade kit of las cannons that I found lying around. So I have some las cannon Havocs for fun and games there. And then I'm going to. I ordered the Series 3 of the Warhammer blind boxes. With the
the Plague Marines.
yeah. So I just bought the Chaos Lord out of that box because that Lord is an amazing model,
He's really cool.
and he's random. And honestly, the eBay price was the same price as like a clan pack character model, so I'm like, I'm good with that.
That's a good price, actually.
Yeah, and then I picked up another Titanicus book because I get more and more into that. So I picked up the last Titanicus book that was out. And aside from that, I built a lot of Tiny Titans for Titanicus, but actual 40K, little to none.
That's all 40K activity.
That's fair. Well, technically,
40K
Titanicus
adjacent.
is 30K. Technically, you know, we're pulling hairs here.
Why
But
not just say that it's in 40K? Come on, there's still Warlord Titans and stuff. You can live your best life, man. Don't let anybody else forge your narrative for you.
Oh, man.
Even if it's Andy Smiley or Andy Hoare or any of the other guys that actually write the books.
apart from the ones who, even if it's the ones who forge the narrative, don't let them forge my narrative.
Yeah, don't let
As
the
long
guys
as
that
they're named
books-
Andy.
Yeah, they have to be named Andy though.
If they're Andy, I'm fucked. But yeah, so I played before everywhere locked down. I played like a game of Titanicus against Josh, where I brought up like I think 1,500 points of knights against his 3 warlords. That was a super fun game.
You obviously crushed him, right?
So I won by dying.
I mean,
The mission was set up in a way where it was they had to break through your line, and is written like the fluff of the mission is written like, oh, this is a desperate last stand for the Night House. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, because yeah, it turns out 3 warlords kill stuff really quick. But
I
also
don't believe it.
turns out those little Astraeus knights are stupid good, like really, really good. Like thank God they doubled in cost and got banned mostly because. I had 2 of them take out a warlord, which stumbled back and
Seems legit.
which then fell backwards and took out half the wounds of another warlord. And yeah, that won me the game. So super fun. Yeah, that's all I've been up to. Oh, and we read Hollow Mountain or listened to Hollow Mountain. But
I
Dave,
did both.
what did you do?
Wow.
I had to. So I've been up to. I decided I was going to clean up my recording space so that I could start doing some more videos since I can't leave the house. You know.
Day 71, Dave. Dave filming himself like really perfecting the perfect alkaline-based painting water.
So I actually sat down. I was talking to Mitch Pelham about a COVID PSA to get judges back to work. Kind of set to Sarah McLachlan music with
Beautiful.
pictures of sad TOs and judges. You know, like, but with the just you staying home. We'll get us back to work sooner. Look at this sad judge. Mitch Pelham hasn't issued a red card in 3 months.
Just seem red carding small children, animals. But see, the problem with the flaw with your plan is I've never not seen a judge smiling ear to ear, knowing that they're going to hand out a red card at some point in the future.
That's why they're so sad, because they don't know when that'll happen. Think about it. It could be days, weeks, months, years at
There's
this rate.
a lot of wives being red carded nightly right now.
Nice.
Because, yeah, they didn't read the rules and they're forced opponents right now of house locked people. But beautiful. So we got a nice clean Studio B.
It's not, well, I started it, John. It's not clean yet. So the problem is that I had a bunch of broken custodes sitting on Studio B. So I picked them up and I started putting them back together, since it's been almost a year since I broke them. And, well, then I started painting them, because that's obviously what I should be doing instead of working on the rest of my chaos.
There is no quicker way to fix a model than to fully paint and complete it, because then it can't be broken.
Right.
It's
Right.
invincible.
Yeah, well, I have several super heavies that disagree.
So I've been foolishly painting, and I've spent like 3 hours painting on a shield captain before I realized that the back fin on the left side is broken off, never to be seen again, because I have no idea where it is.
Oh,
It's
no.
just
Like,
like,
a little
oh.
stabilizing fin on it?
Yeah. She gone.
Oh, no. So that guy's just constantly doing a barrel roll the entire battlefield.
I think he might be, yeah.
So hard to hit.
3+ invulnerable save.
Well, the thing is what hurt me the most is that I was painting gold on it, and I painted the other fin, never saw it. It wasn't until I went to start painting the red of the cape that I went, oh, crap. So it really hurt me. But at this point, I'm going to finish him. His face looks really good, and I'm kind of starting to get down the buzz cut style a little bit. But then I have access to Darren Latham's videos, which really helps for figuring that out.
Oh, I subscribed to Duncan's website as well. That's the other thing I did.
That was smart.
Yeah, that's my other hobby progress. I very much enjoyed his How to Paint a Stormtrooper video.
His videos have been very good
Yeah.
for his tutorial stuff. It's been top notch. So I don't blame you there, or begrudge you. Not sure.
Yeah.
But other than that, just been trying to survive. I have all of the demons are all red. The armor's painted white on the greater demons. I've been struggling with wing membrane ideas because red just doesn't seem right. Like it should be more translucent, but it's not. I can't envision it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Flesh. Bloody, muscly flesh.
Right. Like I keep thinking like a bat.
Yep. How apt.
And not able to come up with the right color to make it look right. So I've been struggling with it.
Yeah, because it's like a little see-through, which is super hard to kind of put together on that model.
Yeah, on the Demon Prince models.
Yeah. Oh, I picked up a bunch of secondhand Chaos stuff that I'm going through too.
And I made a run to the Valley to pick up some stuff to support our Valley hobby store before it shut down for good, according to the ordinance.
Well, temporarily for good.
Yes, temporarily.
I was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, they're shut down for good, man. Come on. No, temporarily for good, hopefully back soon. And I was able to pick up white paint because I was out of white paint, and that's a huge part of my scheme for the Chaos Army. So I was like, gonna need that, I think. So that's my hobby progress.
What color are your demons, by the way? Are you doing them red or are you doing them white?
They're corn. They're all red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and Blood Bowl. I've been playing a lot of Blood Bowl on the PC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
really
what team?
Enjoying it again.
What team are you?
I'm whatever team I feel like playing. I like the generic Chaos the most. Always have. Following that, Norse is a lot of fun because a lot of blitzers, and I like that. So.
Oh, I also forgot. I played Space Hulk Deathwing with that cool guy Kyle.
Oh man, I was so jealous.
Yeah, so I was a good stand-in for that. As it turns out, I'm really hard to control in a team-based environment when I'm a Lightning Claw chaplain just running at people. Gotta stay within the buff zone.
Like to say I'm surprised by that, but I'm not.
It's like suppressing fire the whole way.
Suppressing fire.
A little Cyril Figgis over here, just kind of going through that Space Hulk. But anyway, Danny, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I've been building lots of models. Well, I'm going to pause for you to tell me something else you did this week.
No. I'm like, I think that's it. I'm like,
let me jump in. Danny, what kind of models are you building?
I did nothing. I say I do nothing, but then everything Dave said, I was like, oh yeah, I did that.
Let's see. So I've been cruising eBay to see if anybody has any army deals because people are hard up. And, if I can give them a
damn, fuck's
nice.
not going to call you an eagle. I'm going to call you Danny the Shark McLaughlin. Or McDevitt.
Okay, cool. So new last name.
All right, dibs on the eagle then.
I'll be like,
so I've been playing Warhammer Total War quite a bit.
Fun.
I like playing the battles, but I'm really bad at all the other parts of the game, which is like empire building and things like that. No, that's for.
Oh, you mean the game? You're just bad at the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the city building. I just like fighting.
I haven't played a Warhammer themed video game since Dark Omen.
oh man, you really got to. There's some good ones out there.
Yeah, Vermintide is really good, or was, and then Vermintide 2 is supposed to be better, and I haven't played it yet, but it's on my list.
Well, you have plenty of time.
Yeah, I know. Well, and like I have to stop playing Total War because I've been making myself sad. I'm breaking out my old 8th edition army books for Warhammer Fantasy, and like,
hey,
then I have to go put them away.
Today, the reveal, okay, that happens today, we'll probably be talking about all of that for you, Danny. Don't worry.
That would be the dream. I
Where's-
would love to see some pictures.
Where's my large doubt button? I don't seem to have a huge doubt sound effect.
Just pretend you pressed large doubt for a second there. All right?
Yeah.
Large doubt.
Well,
There
now I
you
have to isolate that and use that one there, but yeah.
You can, yeah. So what models have you been building, though, Danny?
So getting back into my model building. I've been building a lot of Sisters of Battle.
Oh, yeah?
Got like 30 more Sisters of Battle. I've been trying to build a box of stuff every day. And then like some random character models that I've had around too. Like I bought a Drazar online a while ago, and so I built him.
Oh, cool.
And then I also converted up an Ardax Agaton model into a Iron Hands like captain. So if I ever want to use him, because I'm just going to paint all of my generic Space Marines like Iron Hands. And so
the
when I
best
want to
chapter.
take him,
Smart.
well, I mean, I don't know, Dave. You don't play Iron Hands.
Not anymore. Not since they suck.
Well, no, I mean, your guys are purple and they're like the purple ponies or something, right?
It's a successor chapter, you jerkface. Stop forging my narrative. Your name isn't Andy.
Is the symbol like? Is it a My Little Pony or is it just a ripoff of a Mustang?
Oh, Mustang.
Logo,
I thought you were
or-
going to say mustache. Yes, it's a ripoff of mustaches.
My little mustache.
Oh man, Brony conventions are getting really weird.
I mean, were they ever normal?
Yeah, I mean, are they?
Sorry, they're getting more weird.
Sorry, all of our Brony listeners.
How
so
dare
Lost
you?
together
another
any-
one, down to 5. Yes, I've been building a lot of
Shit.
Sisters of
We're still
Battle.
at 5?
Yeah, well, I'm double counted some people. Like your mom is too, for sure.
Is that a fat joke? My mom is the most not a My Little Pony fan.
Anyway,
He'll take all
so-
the jokes about us fucking his mom, but
Yeah,
do not
go for
call
it.
her a My
Not.
Little Pony fan.
Two things that are off the table with my mom, and that's it. Bronies and furries. You leave those two things gone. If you show up at her house in a brony costume or a furry costume, you ain't getting in. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you
I
probably
bought
get
her a
in.
furry
still.
tail. A furry tail is like,
A butt
Or
plug with
present.
a
Oh, yeah.
foxtail on the end,
Sorry,
not
that
down
was
as
the
a furry tail.
implication. But yeah, Dave, please spell it out for me.
It's not like anybody listens to us. It's not an adult or any of my kids.
Oh,
Can't
trying
wait
to
to
be
pay for that.
classy over here.
Kids.
Why start now?
Foxtail. So, I've been building Sisters of Battle. I've got like 41 models to build. I built the Battle Sanctum. That thing is stupidly huge.
It's
Like, I
rad, though.
You
That is
could easily
so
set up like a knight inside of it and get cover from like every angle.
Shame you have to
So,
take a fortification detachment for it.
Yeah, that's right. But
Speaking
if you
of
already have a
sisters, though,
brigade, well, it doesn't matter that much.
I actually ordered some alternate flight stands for the Seraphim that I bought.
Oh, okay, cool.
The kind that the smoke jets packs out. So
So the jetpacks look really broken because they're just spewing out gas.
just shooting it out. Actually, I'm trying to work with one of us.
Instead of like a
Are those
F-24
powered by
fighter,
farts?
instead of it looking like an F-24 fighter taking off, it's like an upside down locomotive. Just chirk,
It's
chirk,
like
chirk, chirk.
it's like a crop duster plate. Oh man, you're gonna put some to dual use vegetation control. Also, they spray for bugs.
We,
The Adeptus
we enforce your
Herbelicus.
faith.
Yeah, do you like those? I don't know. I've always thought mine ran on like more. I don't know, like you couldn't see like the exhaust from them. I guess I don't know. Like
Yeah.
a little bit more angelic.
I like them a fuckload better than the flight stands.
Okay.
And so the whole reason I bought this box set is I really want to paint one up for the painting contest at Ursa this year.
Cool.
Since I'm stuck here, I figured I would spend a lot of time working on one model. I just didn't realize it was going to be on a different flight stand and be missing a fin.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
That's fair. Those flight stands, though, oof, they're unique.
that's a word.
I don't know how I feel about them yet. Like if all my models start breaking off of them pretty hard, then I'm probably just I'll trade them out for like ones from the Magnet Baron or something like that. Because those are pretty nice, and they never break. But they also don't look as good. So,
I don't know. I'm torn by them. The idea of them when I first saw them was great, but I just don't. I think they'd be better served doing stuff like they did with all of the character models that they just have been releasing lately, where they're coming off of a piece of terrain to get the height. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, but everything's jumping off of ruins right now, and it really limits, like, what if my tabletop isn't a ruin city?
Well, then you're not playing 40K because every piece of 40K terrain is just ruins. I mean, I don't know if you know that or not.
Well, I guess you're schooling me.
Yeah. Take a look at all of the books we've gotten, all of the action shots they show inside there where the army's looking all beautiful. Ain't nobody sitting around in a field just having, well, maybe the Sisters of Battle Codex has that in case they're crop dusting or something, but for the most part, that's not what's happening.
Man, I like the idea of a dual purpose Sister of Battle dropping both faith and crop fertilizer.
Get Alec on it. It's our next t-shirt.
Oh, it's faith.
100%.
Gaseous form.
Yum.
Just sublimated right off of my models. Anyway, so I'm really excited about playing some games. Although I will say, the lack of human contact has been tough. Like as far as not being able to go play games, I'm generally a pretty very extroverted person. Like I like to be hanging out with people like a lot, and it's not been that.
I have to agree, and I don't get to play a lot, because of everything else. But I had self quarantine just to be on the safe side. At the last time we recorded, and so it's been at least 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks since I've seen either of you guys, and I kind of miss you, but I don't want to tell you that. So,
no, I mean I appreciate that. We'll make a joke about it later, but it's weird, right? Like we're all trying to do like the good thing. I think the last time I saw people was when Danny was over and I had Josh here. And Josh and I were playing Titanicus. And even then, I think that was only like a week ago, which is crazy. And then outside of work, then I've just no interaction is strange.
I mean, we did touch the glass together in a weird prison handshake, on Saturday, but that's about it.
Yeah, it was the weirdest because I had Dave pick up like some chaos models for me from the shop that's about to close for a couple weeks. And he dropped them off in my car and work, and I saw him from the window. So I go out and I put my hand up against the glass Titanic style and make him come over and put his hand up as well.
It was a magical moment.
Sorry, I cannot stop laughing. You guys have a very different definition of a prison handshake than I do.
Sorry, I meant one guy in prison, one guy not. John was in prison in this scenario.
There was masturbation going on, though, I gotta say.
I told you, what I do when I get out of my truck is my own business, and if you look at it, that's your fault.
That's why there's all those nipple prints on the front of Dave's window.
Yeah, that's the reason there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to have hung out with you guys tonight and had some cocktails. I also don't usually drink a lot unless we're hanging out, so I've been sober for 4 weeks.
Oh, man, I have not.
So, Dave, let me tell you. Bad move, son. You got to work on that.
I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so
I've had a couple of real fun nights where I'm just like sending random messages, and then I look the next day and I'm like, why did I compare that to a string of cheese coming out the back of something? Just like looking at like I have no like
that's
going in these
Shakespeare's other less quoted line.
Going like on Hunter S. Thompson style benders, and then like all my best, most creative work, I wake up and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense now.
This idea is brilliant, boys.
All right, why did I write beans and gray nights? just random words on there. It was good times.
I don't have an answer for that.
No. So yeah, what else have you been up to, Danny? We keep interrupting you with random things.
No.
Dave
I had
feels
to lure him to one of those random things. Actually, I was kind of pissed. I was like, "Say this."
Dave.
Also technically work.
Oh yeah.
So
I think it's all of us essential people.
I have learned that a lot of people think they are essential when they are not. I
No.
can tell you that already.
Yeah. Me. I think Friday is going to be my first day off in 4 weeks or 3 weeks or so. And then I know, Danny, you've been super busy with your stuff. And then Dave, you've back to work now. So that means you have 2 weeks worth of stuff to catch up on.
I mean, I've been at work each time. I was self-quarantining away from you, so.
No, that's fair. My
I was
wife
worried
does that
about your
often
son.
as well.
I mean, it wasn't you so much as I was worried about your son.
That's
you. I would have been like, he's dead.
Yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah.
It's good. He had a good run.
I mean, I care about him. He's got his life ahead of him still, John.
Oh.
At least I'll have that memory of your wife singing that song to him and him just having fucking none of it. It will always pop up on my memories every single year from now until forever.
It's such a good video. And for those who can't see it, it's just my wife towel drying my, I think, 2-month-old son at the time and singing Baby Shark to him. And like my son just gymming the camera from the office and just being like, the fuck is she doing?
It's good description.
It's
Perfect.
It's super good. But yeah, what else have you been up to there, Dan?
That's about it.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break then. I was going to start by saying we're going to take a break and come back, but I didn't want to cut you off as I've done to both of you this entire time. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to go back about the biggest internet preview ever for Warhammer community. We'll be right back. You've mastered the art of the Stanley. You've downloaded the ITC Battles app. You've loaded your dice to guarantee your charge. Now perfect your game with Mob Rules measuring accessories. Made of the finest acrylic and carrying the skill of the Danny, the tactics of the Dave, and something positive about John. Get yours now at hammerheadgames.net. All right, so this past Saturday, the part 1 of 2 of the biggest preview on the internet ever for Warhammer community dropped in the light of Adepticon, obviously not happening this year, along with many other events. The usual Adepticon preview panel was split into 2 parts, with the first part coming out last Saturday and the second part dropping today. And a couple big things came out of this.
Assholes.
That's right. This is will usually be when I use hand signals to let people know I want them to talk.
I don't know what happened to
Hand
Danny there.
signal. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Wait,
No,
what?
I heard it sounded like Danny was slurping a soda, and I suddenly got really jealous. I was like, oh.
Oh man, I wish I
No,
had
so
soda
a couple big
slurp.
things came out of this, and the most important thing that came out of this was the mountain cows, I believe, across the board. Unless your name is Russell, in which case the most important thing that came out of it was an obscure character from the Lord of the Rings movies that was the best looking model out of all of them that they revealed.
Well, let's look here.
He's the best character in Lord of the Rings, so you can't really be upset about it.
I want to say that model was absolutely and utterly amazing to me. You get him on foot, you get him mounted, you get him on foot with sword and board, or you get him on foot with spear. You get him mounted with spear or mounted with sword and board. I was like, this kit is huge. This is like $100 kit they made for this one character.
Options.
Hashtag Lord of the Rings kids.
I expect to see 40K characters start bringing it, okay, because what they've been doing lately, I'm a little disappointed. Just saying.
Hey, Storyforge was announced. Death's Hand, a short animation based on Imperial agents, was previewed. It's an animated anthology called for Hammer and Bolter, and Death's Hand being the first mini one of there, with a gorgeous-looking assassin animation in the preview there.
Yeah, it's using the Eon Flux style of animation, isn't it?
Yeah. So sort of that Western Asian style. And it's, like I said, it's an anthology of stories, so it's going to let them tell these really cool random stories. I'm excited for the way I think about it, reading the, you know, the sidebar stories in codexes, like the little one paragraph things. Yeah, that's what I view it as, and I'm very excited to see it for there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I'm kind of very excited about it. We also got the Flaming Warcry boys.
Yep, we sure did.
If you're into Warcry, they look great. There's one guy that is so on fire, it's not even funny. Like a couple of them have like little bits of fire, like I'm doing fire stuff. There's one guy who's like, fuck it, get doused in gas, lit on fire, just running straight at people. It is insane, in my opinion.
You know what I'm excited for that kit is I can finally make that Inquisition witch spire, where I can just kind of make a pile of wood and put one of these models on top of it, like the on fire dude, and
nice.
have like a little burning heretic display.
That'd be cool.
The Scions of the Flame. Warhammer 40K. I guess we're a Warhammer 40K podcast. We should probably talk about the Warhammer 40,000 things.
Was there any Warhammer 40K? I don't remember.
No, not really. Fabius Bile, the Clone Lord, Fabulous Bill. And hey, spoilers, as I said on an episode of our podcast, as it says here in the community article, the last of the original classic Chaos Space Marine characters to be updated. So yeah, sorry, Lucius the Eternal. It looks like I was right. He is not a classic character.
Yeah, he's not.
Or good, so it's fine.
Well, agree to disagree on that one. I've been looking at him more since I found out I own 2 of him. But Fabius was announced. A couple of other things were announced. He's going to have his own sub-faction, which I think will be his downfall. Then he'll be...
Maybe? I don't know. That could go either way, though, man.
That depends. That depends. Yeah, it fits with kind of the background about him being an outsider and kind of him being kind of shunned by the others. But at the same time, kind of sub-faction is just, to me. But yeah, War of the Spider is going to be between Death Guard, Fabius Bile's faction, and is it the Adeptus Custodes, Sisters of Silence, and the Imperial Assassins. So
it's going to be a good book.
That book is going to be amazing, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Danny, what do you think about War of the Spider?
Pretty excited. I really want to see the new Talons of the Emperor list and see how things have changed. I'm really interested to see the Death Guard, like faction, interfaction, like special, or I don't know, the companies they have, the great companies or whatever.
Yeah,
they're cohorts. The cohorts, that's what they're called. And see what all those are, because I really like the ones that they did for the Thousand Sons. I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, they were really good.
And then, new assassin rules. Super interested. I'm less interested in Fabius in general, I would say.
Well, I
want the Fabius model, but I probably won't use him because I've got the Corn thing going on, and he's not really subscribed to a certain god. So.
You know, I'm looking at him, though, like looking at the new model. I think this is the first time that, like, they've taken the old model and done the old, hey, let me, can I copy your homework? Sure, but just change it up a little bit. Because the pose is the same, the detailing is the same, the arms coming off the backpack even are all exactly the same. It mainly kind of just looks like a scale update more than anything else.
Well, and they got rid of the face.
What face?
In the cloak.
Oh, those jerks!
That face
they
is
did
in there somewhere. I think, Dave.
It'll be on the back.
I think
probably.
they put it on the Warhammer preview.
Well, that's got to be on the back then of the model, because if you so in the Warhammer community side, if you click on the article and go through it on your computer, and you're scrolling down, as you scroll past that picture, it starts with the old one and then does the
wipe. That's what I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
I said, and it's very much just seems to be an upsized version. They didn't take a lot of changes. They didn't really adjust anything at all to him. It almost looks like the same guy painted both models. So
I think that's impossible. But
Oh well, yeah, I know. But if you look at the two of them side by side, there's a lot taken from the original from this
We
one
got
here.
Mike McVeigh out of retirement.
yeah,
Threw that model at him.
You're like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. But yeah, it's
but his model was good before. Like, I mean, it was a decent model.
yeah, I just needed
they
that
just
scale
made
up.
it better.
Yeah. 30K. We'll dabble in that real quick because the Lion was released. Not a Lion.
announced.
Sorry, but Lionel Johnson. With an amazing Primarch model. I think honestly my favorite Primarch model to date.
Man, I might be in the majority here, and it just his pose looks like it's supposed to be an action pose, but his legs look static. Does that make sense?
Did you just say that you might be the majority here?
It's humility knows no bounds.
Yeah, I'm the majority. I'm so humble. No, I think I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people are really excited. Again, this model has tons of options. 2 different heads, 2 different sword options. Great. You know what I mean? Super cool.
I didn't even notice it.
I really like.
Sorry, on you go, Danny.
Like Dave, I really like the. So actually, Dave is correct, and we are in the majority, right? In that, I feel the same way. Like the model itself, okay, and the face is excellent, and like the detail, it's all really well sculpted. It's just kind of a boring pose.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an action pose, but he's got static standing legs. Like if one leg was moving or something, it would make more sense. But basically, it's just he looks like he's playing t-ball. You know?
No, he's about
up to the plate and he's hitting Night Lords out across the plains or something like that.
No, he's about to cover his face because he has a fucking Volkite pistol pointed like 2 feet from his penis. He's covered. He's like, it's fear because he's the Lion. But yeah.
Only if you've got the helmeted option, because if you're using the unhelmeted option, first off, he's sexy AF.
Yeah.
But
table boners.
Yeah, I was like, that's probably the best face they've ever made.
Oh, agreed.
But yeah, I really like the diorama, the aesthetic they went with, but it just looks like it fell flat to me because of the legs. So
I think it's
top half torso, perfect.
I think it's something that's going to look better off of its scenic base. When it's just the Lion standing there and you don't have like a small squad of Night Lords, you also have to paint in order to field the base. I think it's going to like a scenic one off to the side. A lot of times with the scenic bases, like they do things like the Sanguinus one looks great on the scenic base, but weird as hell off the base.
Oh yeah, no, the Sanguinus model is absolutely atrocious without the base. It's just like, what's he doing?
Yeah, whereas this one is
rocketing to the ground from 3 feet up.
Swooping.
It's majestic. He's a peacock.
Swooping.
You have to let him soar.
Gotta let him fly, John.
But I'm a big fan. And then finally, the Lieutenant Emulus model, homeboy with the Nosferatu haircut, and the off helmet, and the pointing sword, is going to be orderable by everyone. Soon.
Okay.
Glad you spent thousands to go to LVO Day. That's exciting.
Oh, I had it long before that, but they're releasing it able to made to order purchase because it was Adepticon was supposed to be the last place it was available before it was shipped off into storage, much like everything Indiana Jones found. So
oh shit, it's going with Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, but it's okay because Nick Baton's going to get in a refrigerator and get blown out after a nuclear explosion or something like that, and it'll be fine. So
beautiful, love it. So what was your guys' takeaway from part 1A of the reveal event and how it was kind of handled for the online community?
Can I save this for my soapbox?
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay,
Danny.
Hype. I'm really excited for part 2. Although I hope it's just as full of new stuff as this one was.
I am also really excited for part 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna need it to pick up the pace a little bit.
Okay. Well, hey, let's go. We'll throw one more break in here real quick because why not? Let's just kind of max out our breaks early because we have a quota. And then when we come back, we'll have a sweet soapbox by Dave.
All right.
Dude, I'm the best. I took first place at another tournament.
First off, stop with the thunder and lightning. You don't impress me. And second, let me check out the BCP rankings. And I don't see you on there.
What?
Your TO needs to download the Best Coast Pairings app and run events on it. After the event, the results are uploaded into BCP rankings, and the best part, it's easy and free.
But I play multiple game systems.
No big deal. The BCP app can be used for any game. A ton of events every weekend are using it, from major international tournaments to local stores. And now that it's available on Android devices, you're going to have some serious competition.
There can be only one.
BCP Rankings is a fun and exciting way to measure how you or your team stack up. No matter what you play, your score goes to an overall ranking, or compete to be the best in a game, a circuit, a region, or the world.
Download the app or visit www.bestcoastpairings.com for more info.
Best Coast Pairings.
Are you the best?
Ooh, it was briefly Danny Video, and I didn't need that.
Oh, I'm news anchor in this broadcast right here. But hey, it's time. I got you a theme and everything.
Is it the Dave Games theme again? There it is. Okay.
Soapbox. 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 Hey, it's Dave. Soapbox.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
So I'm going to preface this right now by saying that for a 1 week throw together to be able to do this preview, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Okay, that had to have been absolutely difficult. That
45,000 people at once.
Yeah, they crushed it. That said, they could have spaced it together a little bit better. 15 minutes in between each preview is a little much, okay? For people, especially those of us that live over on this side of the world where we had to get up at the butt crack of dawn in order to see the preview if we wanted to see it. Now, let's talk about after the preview. The models were great, but they weren't my cup of tea. And there's a lot of people who feel like that just because they didn't see something that agrees with them. And that's the case of that is true for a lot of people. Now, if you're like me, you immediately do not go on the internet and start talking shit about what you saw just because it didn't appeal to you. That said, if you did see something you like and somebody says that they didn't like it because it wasn't their cup of tea, it is not okay to go out of your way to shit on them in return. You just say, I'm sorry you don't feel that way. Maybe in the next preview we'll have something for you. But when I tried to explain something to somebody, when somebody said, why are people shitting on these models that I like so much? And I said, well, not everything it appeals to everybody. I didn't really care for the Mountain Cow, and I don't really care for, the Warcry stuff, and I didn't care. Fabius was amazing, but he was spoiled ahead of time. See previous soapbox about dickheads who leak shit to the internet. Now, that said, the first thing this guy said to me when I said, a lot of these stuff isn't necessarily played to high content in my area. Warcry is played one night a week by a group of guys, and it doesn't fall into my schedule. And Age of Sigmar is played one night a week by the same group of guys, and it still also doesn't fall into my schedule. That's okay. It doesn't fit my narrative and my fun times. So when I say I'm not that impressed by what I saw, because people in my community don't play it very much, and you come back with, I don't give a fuck about your community, fuck off, and then block me, you can eat a dick.
I mean, that Warhammer community Twitter account is brutal.
I was blocked from there as soon as they created it. Now, try to remember to be nice. Just because you're orgasming over mountain cows and you're super excited, not everybody is as excited. And if you are not as excited guy, do me a favor, please, and just say, hey, it's great you guys are getting new models. I sure hope I get something nice in the future too, and then walk away. So that's my soapbox.
Can I point out a problem with your plan?
Is it that people are assholes?
Oh yeah, that's it right away.
Yeah.
We're living in a time where if it isn't directly marketed towards me, it's bullshit and the company's fucking awful.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Do you have any hopeful predictions for this weekend, though, John? Now we're talking about it. Or I guess technically, as anybody's listening right now, the preview should have already happened.
So here's the thing. So we had the massive things like this is going to be when 9th edition would be announced. We're thinking this is when digital codexes were going to be announced. We had all of these great plans. But we're now in a situation where everything's shut down. Nothing's being sold. Nothing's moving. And you got to think, is that going to affect how they release things and when they release things? Are they going to maybe push through with the 9th edition in order to kind of pop a profit the quarter all of this stuff lifts and they're able to do business again? Do they do business as usual and just push everything 2 months back and kind of keep spacing out? Are we going to release a whole new edition when unemployment is going to be crazy high everywhere? That's what I don't know. All of these real world things.
I honestly think that they were going to announce 9th, and I think they are going to not announce 9th anytime soon now due to the fact of everything that's going on, the quarantine, the fact that they're shut down and not making anything in their factories or anywhere for the next foreseeable future. And that's okay. I get it. Health, take care of yourself by all means. You know, and keep the people that keep making the things that I love alive. I'm good with that, okay? Except for, you know, what's his face? The guy that was running Forge World, that guy.
Danny.
All the guys named Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just only guys. People called Andy. That's the essential personnel.
Don't please not. Andy Smiley and Andy Clark and Andy Hoare are all friends of mine. So yeah, I don't know. I honestly do not expect to see a 9th announcement. I think that it becomes a profit loss for them because they won't be able to release it. As it sits, they can't release. They're currently hoping to be back by the beginning of May, but it's really probably going to be closer to June for the stuff. So we don't even have Saga of the Wolf officially. Some places got it before the shutdown happened, which is great, unless you don't live there.
Which,
you know?
Yeah.
And you can buy it digitally.
You can
you can buy the book digitally, but you can't get the box set with Gaz and Ragnar in it unless you happen to get lucky.
Right.
And live in a place that doesn't respect any sort of quarantines or anything like that. So
yeah, so that's
lucky.
What's that?
That's lucky.
Well, I mean, it's relative.
Yeah, for the last 3 weeks of your life, you're going to be coughing all over that gorgeous Gazgul miniature, which is huge, by the way. It's
Coughing
oh my
all
god.
over the Gazgul was that's an innuendo, isn't it?
Coughing over the Gazgul, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think what they're going to, and I think the reason the first one was underwhelming was everything was forced to shut down, and they went, oh shit, there's no way we can fulfill 50% of these promises we're going to be making during this preview.
Or year, really, is what I'm thinking.
So they're not going to announce stuff that they can't release, so I think that's why they had to pull a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, I agree completely. And in the first one, but they said it was 2 previews, you know, like originally the Adepticon preview was supposed to be the biggest preview ever. It wasn't. The Adepticon preview plus this other preview will be the biggest preview ever. So yeah, that hype right there, the fact that they kept that hype going instead of just saying, hey, so, you know, it's not going to be the biggest preview ever, sorry, we're having to do it smaller because of X.
Yeah, no company's going to do that. No company's going to do that, though. No company's going to be like,
I don't think they're going to change anything, you guys.
No?
Really?
I think everything that's going to happen is going to happen. Wow, it's all on their product. They might push stuff back a little bit, but
you optimistic bastard.
Dude, you're like the little raccoon panda thing from Kung Fu Panda right now.
That could?
Yeah, just all like positive and shit. And like whatever happens will happen. Oh no, that was a turtle from Kung Fu Panda. But that
I'm a turtle?
Yeah, you're a turtle. You're Master Oogway. You're welcome. I remembered his name and everything.
Or took long enough to Google it.
You know. Shut up. Danny, what do you think we're going to see?
I think that, I don't know. Like, okay, obviously they can't just release everything right away as soon as everything that's been backed up, but most all this stuff is already made.
They can if they take a little X-Lax.
That was a poop joke.
It's a poop joke.
And we just saw that, like that shipping manifest that got leaked. Because stuff is still being made in China. Yeah, for the new, for a book in the series, because there's one that's coming out called Pariah, supposedly.
Oh, I heard tale of that, but I try to really stay away from leaks because fuck those guys.
Diapers.
Okay. Well, I understand like pictures and stuff like that. I understand what you mean. But in this case, that kind of got leaked. So, I mean, stuff is still happening. Like stuff is still being built. Stuff might be.
Yeah,
like...
you just built stuff this weekend. I know.
Well, I mean, stuff is still being made, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you can stop the train that easily. I think this might put a little bit of damper on it, but I think stuff is definitely going to get released still every single week as soon as they get back up online.
I think so, but I think they have to take something out of the middle, because they have a release schedule that happens regularly. So something will have to disappear in order to make up for that gap. Does that make sense at all?
No, because you could double up. You could double up on weeks potentially that things are coming out on. Because I mean, like, Sisters got trickle fed over the course of 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever for releases. They could combine that into 1 or 2 weeks. Or they could have half of 1 week's go to 1 week and then the next week. So I mean, there's ways that you can increase your speed. They could easily increase the releases.
There's so many jokes in there.
Increase the frequency of the releases.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. They could. I just don't think they do because you have their two main games, Age of Sigmar and 40K, and they can't release both at the same time because most people have a limited budget of what they're willing to spend. There has to have been some marketing someplace that, oh, Jesus. Are you all right, John?
Yeah, it's just a little rim shot there because you said people were budgeting for 40K. I thought you were joking.
I'm not talking about that. I mean, they don't release 40K and Age of Sigmar usually at the same time because people are going to buy one or the other. In which case, their sales.
Oh shit! It happened again. I didn't even press the button.
Your wife tells us that's a common occurrence.
Oh
man, it's got a mind of its own now. It even goes with text jokes.
Is that what you tell her?
Oh,
that was
John, was that you or was that your soundboard? Because if it's learning things, we need to talk about shutting it down.
Shut it down.
Its first soundboard is gaining sentience.
It's sentient now.
Oh no, it knows what a punchline is.
But yeah, I mean, and you could agree or disagree with me on that. It's perfectly acceptable. It doesn't bother me in one way or the other.
I mean, honestly, by the time this releases, we'll know.
No, because this releases at 2 a.m. and the preview doesn't go live until 6 a.m.
Oh shit!
Like
yeah, we're
time.
ahead of it.
Bum bum bum. Hey,
well,
those numbers, son.
Let's just make a bunch.
Awake.
Let's just make like a bunch of like grab quotes that Spiky Bits can steal. Pretend like we're ahead of the curve.
Is 9th edition 40K coming? Click John to find out now.
Definitive proof of 9th edition.
You heard it here, folks.
Is that a brand new model? See, I left it blank there so you could insert like any word you wanted into there.
Oh, sure.
That was not a very long blank, unfortunately.
Is that what your wife says?
Overlord.
Aspiring overlord.
It's the finally coming aspiring overlords in War of the Spider.
Oh, gross.
No, they're not.
No
Necrons in it.
No Necrons in that one. Gotta wait.
Of course.
Gotta wait.
Last.
But you know what there is still plenty of time to do is Warhammer Fictions and Black Libraries and book reviews. And then when we come back, we'll be talking about the second book in the Vaults of Terra series.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then, I was going to tell a joke where I said the name of the wrong book, but then I couldn't remember that name just to really freak Danny out for like 3 seconds. Shit, that would have been so good too.
You fucking nailed it, John.
Wait, what do you mean the second book, though? Aren't we watching
so
Watchers of the Throne, The Emperor's Legion?
No, that's a different series.
I thought we were. Oh shit! Well, this review's gonna suck.
I mean,
What? Dave?
Do you have a single wound? A standard bolt gun? Having trouble maintaining an acceptable Xenos kill count? Only barely over 2 meters tall? Maybe it's time to ask your lieutenant if the Rubicon Primaris is right for you. The Rubicon Primaris is a prescription process that helps you to update that tired look. You may notice an increase in your purging abilities after within 2 to 4 hours. You may experience loss of life, additional organs, and a points increase. Do not take the Rubicon if you plan on fitting into rhinos, drop pods, or other traditional vehicles. The Rubicon Primaris is not intended for second founding chapters. The Rubicon Primaris is for use on genetically enhanced super soldiers over the age of 800 only. You are encouraged to report negative side effects to your company's apothecary. The Rubicon Primaris. Because sometimes plot armor is just not enough.
Dave, did you not read The Hollow Mountain?
No, I totally read The Hollow Mountain.
Oh, good. It was just a bit.
I know.
I'm excited.
And I nailed it.
You did. You did. So, yeah, book
Good
2
job.
of the Siege of Terra series. Something I've dubbed, I don't know, Law and Order SV40K. I don't know. Think of something cleverer than that to use for it. But procedural crime drama, which Chris Wraight seems to be kind of leaning into heavily for his 40K work, continues as we follow our rapid band of inquisitors uncovering a crazy conspiracy that goes all the way to the heart of the throne world itself. Dave, tell me about this book.
Oh, this book is a thrill ride a minute, okay? If you've read the first book, it leaves off.
Sorry, I was
in
late
such
on
a
that.
way.
You said that book was a thrill ride a minute?
No, did that come out of my mouth? That's because it is. It's a thrill ride a minute. It takes you.
Just
You're
damn
welcome. I'll
bored,
set that
man.
up.
Yeah, thank you for
I'll set
repeating
that
that. Yeah.
You're welcome. All right. So, if you recently read the article by the former mob ruler and friend of John, Danny, and myself, Phil the Glacial Geek, he mentions the first book in the series as being absolutely and utterly amazing, which he learned from listening to our review of it the last time we reviewed it. It was great, right, John? The first book was great. It was like it took you by the balls and drug you kicking and screaming all the way through Funtime Mountain to the end. Right? The first book?
Yeah. The first book was.
Clarify. First book.
So for me, the first book, I think I enjoyed it a lot because it was so refreshingly different from the other 40K stuff I was reading before. We came out of like the Beast Arises series and a bunch of other ones. And it was all kind of like giant space marines pounding people into the dirt and, for the Emperor and dying. And this was like more of a street level, almost Eisenhorn-esque interaction between human characters, right? I think that was the important thing is for all intents and purposes, it was humans acting in human ways.
Yeah, 100%. And it was totally refreshing and unique, and it did not suffer from the standard GW trope of half the book is explaining the world around you to you,
right?
Painting the picture for you. It didn't have that at all. So it was great.
Because even a lot of the old Space Marine battle books would be like 70% of the book would be building up this world and describing what's happening, and then the last 30% would be blowing up this world.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't have that. And unfortunately, this one suffers a little bit more from that. But so if for anybody that's read the first book, it ends with them recovering after a big battle and figuring out their next moves. And this book literally picks up in the exact spot. Like it was one whole book, and somebody there was like, "Hey, we're gonna cut your book here off after you do this first thing, and start the book again for the next second section. We're just gonna call it a second section over here. Also, we need you to spend like 200% more descriptions on some of your areas earlier in the book to really set the tone." And Chris Wraight was probably like, "What? No." And they're like, "Well, your contract's revoked." And he's like, "Sounds good. I will describe stuff." The hab was covered in smog and smoggy.
We should do this here real fast before we go any further, but spoilers. 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 Yeah, spoilers from here on out.
All right.
Just as a heads up.
Yeah, so we pick up literally right after the opening scene is Erasmus Crowell talking to the assassin, being like, "Hey, I see you're starting to recover. Do you want to join Team Crowell?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm for Team Crowell, as long as I can get, where I want to be, which is to kill whatever's responsible for this for my Inquisitor buddy who is dead now." So it just picks right up. You're good to go.
And so at the end of book 1 in the Vault of Terra, it turns out that they uncover a massive plot. We find out that the Golden Throne is failing, and that some shadowy people on Terra had made a deal with the Drukhari to fix the throne. And it kind of ends at the end of book 1 with homunculi. The homunculi let loose on Terra?
Yes, sure. We'll go
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, some big dark Haldor monster.
It wasn't a gene stealer, which is exactly what both you and I thought it was.
Exactly.
Was it a grotesque?
Oh, yeah. Grotesque.
Yeah. There it is.
Is let loose on Terra.
I
and
think
they
it's
took it.
actually a homunculus because they talk about it all the time in this book.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was something.
Yeah.
So it kind of picks up right after there, and this is where we kind of come into the investigation of how did this Xenos get onto Terra, who was involved, and kind of, for me... Sorry, I go.
Yeah, well, at this point, we know 2 of the X number of people involved, and they're dead already. So, he's already exterminated them. It's not a problem. So now he's trying to figure out who this third person was that was involved in this, or how far up the corruption goes and everything like that, and gets into his Sam Sneed and sends his guys out to start inspecting stuff.
And then I think this is where my issue with the book comes from. I feel I could not read the first 3/4 of the book and still leave with the same information. If that makes sense. There's a lot of things. It's almost like I said, it's like Law and Order SVU for the first 75% of this book, where, yeah, they're doing cool investigatory stuff, but it's all kind of like leading to that last quarter. And it just seemed like the battles weren't quite as epic, I guess is the best word to use, as the first book. And some of the
there's no custodes,
and
so
some of the
that probably factors in.
Right, and then some of the detective work in the first half of the book isn't quite as interesting as book 1 there. I will say, though, that last third, when the Imperial Fists come in, is amazing.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah.
Well, I already played the spoiler song, so it's what it is.
Oh, okay.
We can just talk about the whole book.
So let me sum up the first couple thirds, since you guys didn't like it that much. I'll sum it up really fast.
Okay, well, I didn't let Danny have an opinion yet, so.
Oh, go for it, Danny. Sorry.
I think he means John.
No, because
You mean me.
I mean you, because I was like, I gave my opinion and Dave gave his, but I was like, I don't think you gave yours.
Okay. So yeah, this book was fine.
All right,
dude. That's how you get like a quote on the front of the book. Fine.
I'm gonna tell when I send this section to Chris Wright to review. I will cut that part out. I'll edit that out.
So I thought that he did a great job with the descriptions. The descriptions of everything were really solid, and I got a really good idea of what was happening. I thought that was really good. I thought, again, like the last... So since I actually measure the book by percentage, the last 15% of the book was really good, like the final confrontation, but...
Like it's universe changing.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Really? Okay. All right. Yeah, sure.
We'll get to that later.
I'm going to tell you what the next book includes at the end of this.
Well, I mean, like, sequentially, this happens right before his next series of books, or like the other series of books that he's writing. So it happens right before the Great Rift opens.
Well, the Great Rift opens, I believe, during this book, right?
Yeah, right at the end of this book.
Which would put
at
it...
the very end, yeah.
Which would put it at the same time frame as the Watchers in the Dark, right? Or no, Watchers of the Throne.
Watchers of the Throne, yeah. So, and we all know the Astronomicon went out briefly. Well, not briefly, but for like a month or something like that, or whatever, and until Guilliman got back.
Yep.
Anyway, so I thought that it was kind of an interesting timeline. The pacing of the book I felt like was poor. I think it could have been a lot better. Just like the confrontation between Krull and like the big psychic, like astropath. Like it was a magister, though, right? That's what they called it.
That was the High Lord of
coordinates and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
That part was pretty cool. I thought that was a neat touch. I hadn't thought about that kind of a psyker before. And I thought that the other thing I liked how Krull was constantly just degenerating through the entire book, like because he's got these injuries and he's like, I mean, he's dying, right?
Yeah, he's been left poisoned after the dealing with the homunculus, so it's just slowly deteriorating him.
Right. So,
but
he's like fighting through it with just pure willpower, the whole book.
Yeah,
and I thought that was well described, and like it references it constantly, so you're remembering, like, man, trying to think about how he is feeling trying to do all this like super athletic like combat and stuff like that, or even just walking around.
Well, because if you remember in the first book, he was pretty good. He wasn't Spinoza badass, but he was pretty good. So, it's painting a different picture of him. So, I will tell you the first couple paragraphs, first couple chapters, there was something that really bothered me, and I was listening to the audiobook while also reading it because I'm an idiot and bought both.
Very big brain of you.
There is a lot of something is happening to character A, and then it stops, and the very next paragraph of the same chapter is character B, and it goes back into descriptive. So I can see why the pacing of the book felt off to you, Danny, because that is a very jarring thing to have happen. If Spinoza's at a bath getting ready to have wild, crazy sex with somebody, and then all of a sudden the next one is about Krull in a spaceship flying around describing space to you. It's just very jarring and different.
Or Krull in a bath ready to have crazy, wild, hot sex with somebody. That was my favorite chapter.
Wait, did somebody try and have sex during this book? Because I do not remember that.
I mean, I tried. My wife said no.
Danny. I mean, all right. So we've got Danny's opinion here. Let me sum up the first 3 quarters for people really fast.
Okay.
Since I know you guys dislike that. So the book starts off. He gets the assassin on his team. He sends Captain Revis out to investigate to try to find some answers about Glock. Spinoza gets changed into a different outfit and heads off as a stormtrooper to get some passcodes and infiltrate a major base. Krull goes undercover as an inspector for shipping, and visits this guy and talks to him about that and gets information. So as we're going along, Revis goes to where he's supposed to be to find the information about Glocks, finds a dead person, finds the guy that killed the person, and brings both bodies back into the Citadel. You go back to Spinoza. She and Helgane is one of the other stormtroopers with her, and they break into the fortress. As they're getting there, there's like a weird riot happening outside the Arbites fortress. As stormtroopers, they're allowed access, and they have these new passcodes. They break in, they access the system and set off an alarm, get running out, but they realize the alarm isn't actually for them. It's because shit has started going fucking crazy. They hijack a transport, shoot some chick with a chain that's twirling it around. She dies. Everybody else picks up the chain, starts twirling them. It's driving the crowd into a frenzy. She starts to head back to the Citadel. Krull meets with this guy and asks him about his secretary, which was weird. Gets some information. As the guy's trying to lie to him, he's like, yeah, listen, I don't give a shit about that. Here's what I want. Tell me where I can find this. And he's like, what are you talking about? I've got papers for you. He says, I don't care. His floating skull stabs the guy in the neck and gets the answers, and they leave. So he heads off to meet with the Magisters, which is like some sort of weird psyker Adeptus Mechanicus guy. Meanwhile, Revis takes the bodies back, has the Churgeon inspect them. They discover a device in the shoulder of the assassin and go to pull it out. When they pull it out, it sets off a fucking massive psychic alarm that breaks through the Citadel, and then they prepare for war. The Citadel becomes under attack like almost immediately. Spinoza gets the notification that she has to get back now. They try to get hold of Krull, but Krull is deep within some area trying to get this information. He gets the information. In one of the better scenes in the book, Danny, you were completely right. That whole scene right there was written amazingly. It should have just been a chapter by itself instead of breaking up. When he's meeting with the Magister, asking questions and discovering that it's actually 2 people. and then kills him because why not?
Oh, Dave, you there? Nope. Okay, we're recording now. After my internet crapped out and we lost it halfway through. But Dave, please continue with your magical summary when I have no idea where you left off.
I thought I'd bored you and you just left. You were like, "We're done with recording tonight."
That's it.
So Kral's at the magistrate. He's getting information, trying to figure out where this transmission came from, so that he could figure out where the Xenos came from originally. Meanwhile, back at the Citadel, they're being absolutely and utterly overrun. So they retreat back to the command center and they set off a chemical thing, bacteria thing that kills everybody inside the Citadel who is not inside this control room, including Huck, the archivist, and a girl that works with Spinoza that was a servant in exchange for fruit. And there's a moment there when they're getting ready to set this off. It's supposed to be like a character building moment where Spinoza takes responsibility for it so that Rebus doesn't have to make this call that he's killing 2/3 of their staff or something like that.
1/3.
1/3.
Yes.
And have the deaths live on his hands. Kral escapes the magisters and he gets confronted by the administratum guy that he talked to and interviewed when he was there with thugs to stop him. And then the secretary shows up out of nowhere and kills that guy for him. Turns out the secretary was his pilot the whole time, from the first book. So that was interesting. And then we start getting to the really interesting part of the book from your guys' perspective. For me, it was all good.
So that encounter ended like maybe maybe a halfway through the book. Was the whole siege and destruction of his fortress? Yeah, literally. Well, okay, maybe 60%, but it's literally 10 to 20% of the book is going through them planning something, but not really making any decisions and talking about how they feel about how they killed all these people and how it's fucking with them. That was so hard to get through. I was so bored reading that part. It was
weekly staff meeting, the novel.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know, Danny, you can empathize with me. There's been a lot of staff meetings recently and various things.
And that's the last thing I want to read about. I can only imagine listening to it just the same as a God.
I mean, I get it that it's there kind of to bottleneck them in and kind of build character and kind of learn all the different people, do all this. I totally get it. I do. And I don't know if it's just because I've had almost 2 hours of meeting a day for the last 3 weeks that I'm just oh my God, I just have to sit through this now. So I don't know if I have some bias from that, but yeah, it was a lot of it's in Ocean's 11 when they're planning the heist and all you see is they're talking about it, but then it just cuts to them doing it and it's exciting because you just see them doing it.
The best part of the Ocean's 11 movie.
So this part of the book is if they did that, except they didn't cut to any of the exciting parts, and it was just a bunch of people sitting in a room talking about what they might do.
All right, let's go do it, guys.
I can completely see that, and you're right. It does slow down a little bit right there. I think it was to try to set a mood of how they were all feeling, but I just don't think it carried through properly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does.
But then light bulb, right? Kral is oh, I found something in Huck's old room, even though she's dead, and I've got an idea. Dun,
it's easy. It's easier to find things when people are dead. They don't complain when you steal them.
Right. So when he talks to Spinoza about the fact that she was still talking to the bad Inquisitor from the first book, and says, "Hey, what if you actually responded again?" Well, she's dead. That wouldn't do anything, right?
But it does. Sorry, I don't know what the pause was there for a second.
Yeah, I was waiting for one of you to jump in, actually, but
no, you're doing amazing.
Thanks.
Wouldn't dream of jumping over you.
Or jumping you.
So, come on. Everybody dreams of jumping me. I'm a catch. so they do
I
this.
mean, you're
weird
doing such a
thing.
good job of summarizing it. I'm not going to step on you at all when you're doing it.
Thanks, man. They do this weird thing with
Yeah,
the
seriously,
comms.
Dave, I would never dream of stepping on you while you're doing this.
So they do a weird thing with the comm that's some sort of weird psychic backlash. Kral hears something and it triggers a memory, and he goes, "I know where they are," and they're in the Hollow Mountain. Shocking.
Yeah.
So,
What is the Hollow Mountain, Dave? The titular place
well,
mentioned.
this was a little bit different for me because in my head, the Emperor of Mankind was the beacon. Okay. For the longest time, sitting on the throne.
Someone
But-
hasn't read their Chaos Codexes.
Right? It's not the fluff stuff, just the rules. So the Hollow Mountain is actually the Astronomicon itself, the light that everybody uses to fly by, powered by all of the psychers, and so he gathers everybody up, and they take off in the last two ships that still work, and go to assault it.
I
Which
was
seems great, like great planning, right?
I was a giant
like
fan.
20 dudes.
They hailed the Hollow Mountain and no one responded. So then they just spent like 10 minutes just shooting the shit out of a door. I mean, I love that entire sequence because like they melted a door off its hinges to get in, but it was like they spent so long shooting at it.
I hated that part because they were shooting the heavy bolters and the las cannons at the same time, and I was like, "Come on, man, save the heavy bolter shots. They're not doing anything to this
Hey, man.
doors."
It was like, you know that if you don't have any other viable targets, you might as well just throw all your guns into it.
Yeah, but the las cannons heated it up, and they turned it into like melted metal, and then the heavy bolters knocked it in.
I do like the description they went on for this bit as well. It's like once they blew open the door, like the shadows and the darkness from inside kind of like dripped out, like, you know, like blood from a wound. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's an ominous place. And a massive place too. So they get inside and they land, and this is where the black ships land. Like this is a hangar they're in that is big enough to fit a black ship, which is like, whoa, I didn't even think about them just docking. And like going straight there.
Right, and then shuttling people down. Yeah, that's crazy. There's a descriptor about the black ships in that I'm trying to find here really fast because it was it struck me as just kind of like super good as they were talking about it being like. So it describes all of the psychers as little more than exalted psychic firewood.
Yep. I like also that they described it as, was it the humanity, like what was once seen as like humanity's future and the evolution of humanity is now nothing more than just like a battery. And I really like the way they presented like the psychers that are sacrifices. Yeah, that was supposed to be where humanity's at this point, but they can't advance because they're kind of feeding this giant battery here.
Yeah, it's the one section of descriptor in this book that I was like, wow, that's actually different. You know, like it's a take on the whole as opposed to just here's smog and a mountain.
Yeah, but it was great descriptions in there, and again, it goes on as well how they talk in this book as well about how even official Imperial lore doesn't agree on what stuff is, and they kind of talk about the Catch-22 situation of how the Golden Throne's being described. It's like, well, if we use that to kind of guide ships, does that mean that like when the Emperor always had to be on it or wasn't on it? And just there's a lot of like conflicting, like the church looks at it this way, but the citizens look at it this way, but it could be this way. Also, did you guys notice the Holy Bible is in universe a book there?
I did not catch that.
Yeah, so the Inquisitor, the Inquisitor is having
in the prescribed text that he has.
yeah, and the heretical prescribed text he did, but it came from the Book of Revelations. It was like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, the Bible is a part of it. But then they meet.
Every other part of human history is a part of it. I'm just surprised.
False.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it stops around the 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, so we fly the ships in using the spotlights, which barely pierce the inky darkness. Which, by the way, and at this point, the book turns into what, House on Silent Hill or something like that.
Yeah, it's got a Lovecraftian feel to it, like when they come in.
Yeah, Warhammer horror takes over.
I thought it was like the scene from
My Little Pony.
Event Horizon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where
Oh,
they
yeah.
walk on the bridge, and like everything is like, just dead bodies smeared on the windows, and like
Yeah, just
Blood everywhere.
And people broke. They describe it, as people break. Depths were breaking like view screens and just anything they could with glass to try to kill themselves first before whatever killed them. So hats off to the 25 people that walked inside this this place to live, to invade it.
Oh yeah.
There's some big old balls on
Assaulting
everybody
a
in there.
mountain with an Inquisitor and 20 humans with las guns.
Well, they're
hell guns and
they're
plasma guns.
Yeah,
Well, that's fair.
they're-
That's fair.
They also brought plasma guns, yeah. But as they're getting in there, they have to get in the next door, and they can't get it to open with just entering codes and shit. So one of the troopers puts a melt-a-bomb on it and sets it, walks away, blows it up, walks forward to look through it, and then immediately vomits. Because blood is just rushing out of beyond the door they just blew up. I was like, okay, this is
And
terrifying.
so one of the other things that I thought that the author did really good, and this kind of reminds me of that, is he did a really good job of kind of setting this, describing that the characters were very nervous, not just because of everything they're seeing in front of them, but also there's a psychic field that's making them feel distressed. And so they're seeing things and they're seeing things that have bothered them throughout the story. So two of the characters, the stormtrooper captain and Spinoza, see the homunculus in the sides of their vision and stuff like that when they're looking around. And it's seeing that has fucked with them super hard. And the Inquisitor
Throughout the
he
entire
actually
book,
talked to it.
right?
Right. Which I thought was really well done. All of that psychological stuff was well done for sure.
Yeah, it was very well written. So we're inside. We fight some bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Evil psyker demon children.
The Astronomican Choir.
Yeah.
Which I
Freaking
thought
nuts.
was another great thing this book changes. And you can correct me if I'm wrong in this here, but pointing out that there's actually two sets of psychers that are needed to sustain. So you have the Astronomican Choir, which is a more highly trained choir that lasts days or months or however long it might be to kind of guide the ships of the Imperium. And then you also have the sacrificial batteries that go to the Golden Throne. So now we're having two sets of people sacrificed as psychers.
Yeah. And it was at this point they revealed the tear in space that is ripped across the Imperial space, and that's what's fucking with everybody.
Yep. And then they're just yelling out the tear.
The wound.
Oh, the wound. That's it. The wound.
So I like this. They meet this kid that's this psyker kid that's got this. He's all distended and warped, and he's dragging half a body behind him, just screaming the wound at them. And Crowell just says, "End it."
There's also a great scene with the leader of the Astronomical Choir, the lady who's has them all surrounded, about to kill them, and she's talking, but her mouth isn't moving the whole time. And he points that out several times, and I'm like, man, that's dumb. But then I thought about it, I'm like, man, that's really creepy. Just having this normal talking voice. And she oh, sorry, go on, Dave.
No. She herself was a badass, and I thought maybe he knew her because he addresses her by something, and I wrote it down, but I don't remember it. But that turns out to not be her name, so I was like, oh, never mind.
At this point, as they're surrounded and shit's hitting the fan, we get the Imperial fists doing un-Imperial fisty things.
Hold on. You got to take just 2 steps back because
Oh,
the Imperial
sure.
Fists. So you have this moment before they meet the psychic choir leader lady, where the Crowl and the assassin are like, we have to go on and get this guy. He's trapped in here. The guy that ordered the throne to be turned off. He's here. We're gonna get him. We're gonna prosecute him. And Spinoza, the rest of the stormtroopers, and Revis are like, no, we need to survive. We need to get help here now. So they split from them. And they break into a control room, and she uses her Crozius Arcanum to call for help because she has an oath. And let me just say, they got there really fucking fast.
Yeah. But when they did
were
get
a couple
there,
blocks away getting some Grox burgers.
They were just out for some late night recap, and hey, Chaplain Brother Johnson just sending us a message. Raging party at the Hollow Mountain. Fuck yeah.
fuck yeah. We find out that the third conspirator that brought Xenos to Terra was another High Lord. So that's us at 2 High Lords of Terra doing this here. And not
I
only...
think it's only one High Lord, wasn't it?
No, it was the Fabricator General as well.
Oh, you're right.
But yeah, the Master of the Astronomicon is the other person who's part of this conspiracy. This is so. This is something I have issue with in this book, but I feel will be addressed maybe in the next book here. But you have one Inquisitor who, during the Rift opening, the Acquire dying and the Golden Throne failing, decides he's going to arrest the High Lord of the Astronomicon. I feel
that's like I told you, big balls,
giant balls.
Yeah, but he's really unhinged right now.
Oh yeah, completely.
He's not thinking clearly. Like everything has gotten way too much for him. Even his servo skulls didn't follow him when he broke off just the crazy assassin chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she wanted to kill the High Lord for her own Inquisitor Master, who was murdered by his order, technically, maybe, possibly, who knows.
I'm pretty sure inside the Hollow Mountain is lined with that Noctilith ship. What's it called again? The stone?
Oh, Cadia.
Blackstone?
Yeah, I'm sure it's Blackstone on the inside.
Yeah, and so for the final whatever it is, tie into the, to let you know exactly what time period this is really taking place, the High Lord of the Astronomicon says, we have lost Cadia, okay?
Oh yeah, and he's like, what?
Which is not common knowledge right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, he goes, they're agitated souls out here now. They have a reason to be. We have lost Cadia. And Crowl thought he must have misheard. Like, he's just confused. He's like, we have what? And he says, we've lost Cadia. So, we're fucked. But I can fix it,
Something else is pointed out here by the Master of the Astronomicon is a deal was made with the Dark Eldar to fix the throne.
He doesn't say a deal is made with the Dark Eldar. He actually never admits who he made the deal with.
Right. We find out about this that they know nothing about Dark Eldar. Like, we obviously as players and as being able to read several novels and rulebooks, we know who Dark Eldar are. The Imperium does not know a lot. But they said that they made a deal with them, and there's a ship carrying the last part of their side of the agreement that will not be able to be stopped.
Yeah, and that has led me to believe to figure out who's going to be in the next book, possibly, in some way, shape, or form. But
is it Maeve Meaton?
Yeah, Maeve Meaton's in. He's writing it right now.
The fanfic version of it.
Fuck yeah!
I masturbate to that every night, so it's fine. So you get the Imperial Fist. They help out Spinoza, and they move to help save the Astronomicon. But what transpires with them from the last time you see them to the next time they appear, you don't ever find out about.
Not good stuff.
Yeah. So in standard Imperial Fist fashion, they're not really in the book.
Well, like, they do really cool things. Like, they jump out and start shooting, and like the way Space Marine is described as fighting is really well handled here. Like, I think we've noticed this, but like Chris Wraight is amazing at kind of building up descriptions and kind of putting you there. He talks about how like they just grab cargo and just jump up to their Thunderhawk like 20 feet away with ease. So he's kind of good at building that up there. But outside of kind of one or two feats that the human characters see, yeah, they're not really much there. They have other things going on. Well, I guess the rift's opened up, and Terra's all got a Khorne invasion going on, so they might have other things to worry about now.
Potentially something like that. So yeah, Crawl is dealing with this guy, and he's like, "Well, it's a shame you're gonna die." And it was at that point the Astronomicon exploded. He couldn't fix it, as he kept saying it throughout the conversation.
I had a strong Otto Octavius vibe from him from Spider-Man 2. It's gonna stabilize. It'll stabilize. Like the whole time. Wasn't even a joke.
Yeah.
That's how the Master of the Astronomicon is to me now.
Yeah, only super badass psyker, and both of the two psychers that they really talk about at the end here were just absolutely amazing. Like they freeze everybody in place. Resonance was the name of the person that the woman that was the psychic choir leader or whatnot, and she's got the assassin just locked down in like a psychic straitjacket, but the assassin can still move some, just not enough. You know what I mean? Like, she's got a little bit of tiny room. It just tells you how powerful she really is. And until the Astronomicon exploded, Krall was going to die. In fact, the leader was lifting up his special bolt pistol and pointing it and put it to his forehead to kill him with it. It was a good scene. Then it blows up, and he and the assassin get free, and everybody dies after that. So
then we have kind of the Lord of the Rings ending, where we see everyone's recovery for a little bit, and it makes me think that we're going to see like a similar kind of structure in book 3, which is I'm sure coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I really enjoyed this one. Obviously, this third person dies before he can get the answers he wants, and he has this brief moment of, do I save him or the assassin, who both toppled over the ledge, but then he saves the assassin, which was a shame, because she was voiced with a Russian accent, and it was absolutely terrible by a dude doing a chick in Russian accent in the audiobook.
I was aroused.
It's not surprising.
But yeah, coming out of this, the description of the Astronomical Choir and the Hollow Mountain itself, amazing, changing for me. The continuation of the description of like the Emperor's Palace, there is even some mention there that Magnus was originally designed to take the Emperor's place right now, and he was just going to sit on the throne like the whole time. And that was kind of laid out in this book here. The deal with the Dark Eldar not being 100% complete was thrown in, which I enjoyed, which means I'm sure they're going to try and stop the ship.
I honestly don't think it was a deal with the Dark Eldar.
See, I still think it was.
Well, I'll tell you why. So after reading this and listening to it, the emissaries all themselves came to see the throne. And they went off on their way to try to do what was necessary to save, which is why the Emperor had to be turned off, because the throne was failing, and they were trying to figure out who could save mankind. Now, I see, maybe this is me, but I see an obvious tie-in with your Wraight. Like
Inari.
Yes, like the Yunari had come down, the rebirth people, if you will. So I think we're going to see the Yunari in the next book instead of just the one lone homunculi, and thinking that it's Dark Eldar only tied in, if that makes sense. And then the emissaries.
The homunculi, like all the homunculus covens, are not part of the Yunari.
So who knows? Yeah. I mean, I that's what I'm expecting to see in the next book, is because what is the supposed savior of mankind right now, currently in this current Imperium? It's Rabute Gulaman. So I could see that as the deal that was made.
Right. I think, man, it's tough because, I like that it's advancing the main plot while also still staying sort of grounded. Sort of street level. Like I said, if you put Krall against Eisenhorn, Krall just eats shit like immediately. He's not a psyker like Eisenhorn is.
Well,
you have like that kind of street level character, right? And then kind of the street level story. And even though RBD's things make sense in that regard, I think directly these books have led to the Warhammer Crime sub-series that's been announced. And
I'm looking forward to that.
And again, I'm a little wary. I don't know. It's like, because now we have Warhammer Horror, Warhammer Crime. like all these brands and indents when like just it's one good stories. I don't care kind of what indent it comes from. This book was good though. I'm getting to a point almost with Black Library books when I read them where the first third or 2/3 is not anything particularly special or interesting, but the last third, it's like they have a formula down where like the last third kind of really amps you up and we're like, oh man, that book was great. And then like you read again the first third and it's just, it might not pick up quite as much as you thought it did. I mean, does that make sense to you guys or?
Oh, it completely does. Do you remember when you and I reviewed because Ted could not, the Gav, the fan of the podcast, Gav Thorpe, Path of the Eldar, what was it?
It was
Ghost Warrior.
Ghost Warrior, yeah.
When it was just like that, like it was a slog to get through that first 3/4 of the book. But as soon as you got through that, it was just an amazing
Eldar,
story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And this kind of, I mean, if you're not into I felt this book needed the going out on their different ways and doing their different exposition and uncovering all this stuff and working to try to get all the answers together so they could come back and formulate a plan. I liked that, but that's just the way that I liked it.
I think the big detriment for me right now is the shared universe stuff that's going on. So you have Chris Wright, he has the Carrying Throne series. He also has what's the Emperor's Legion, I think it's called series. Mm-hmm. And both of those right now are intersecting a lot. And I see it not intersecting as much as it goes away, but it leaves me saying, oh, where is this character? And then I have to, okay, he's Emperor's Legion. Okay, and I'm like, oh, where is this character? Yeah. Like, oh, he's Carrying Throne. So they had enough crossover in these first 3 or 4 books now where it's like it makes sense that they do, but it kind of pulls me out of it a little too. And I don't know if it's just because mentally right now I'm obviously not picking things up as much as I should. But that's kind of one of the issues I've had with these series too, is because they're both similarly written. With obviously Emperor's Legion having slightly bigger themes because they talk about like the Khorne invasion of Terra. But they have a real similar feel between the two series there. And I'm just having trouble kind of separating them right now. And even when we were agreeing like, hey, we're going to do a book review, let's do this book. There was a good few days when we were all confused of which book it was going to be.
Yeah, that's really my fault because I had actually meant the Emperor's Legion because I thought that was the Krall book. So right. I actually had bought that to take to Vegas to read in my downtime and then never got a chance to. So I was like, oh, well, I've got a perfect opportunity to read Watchers of the Throne, the Emperor's Legion, the next book in the series of Krall and Spinoza, but I was incredibly wrong.
Right. So, yeah, we got like a week before the episode, and I'm like, how's Hollow Mountain going on? And both you and Danny were like, what the fuck is a Hollow Mountain?
Danny was reading book 3, I was reading a different book. It was crazy.
Oh, but man, if you're starting a Khorne army, that's a great book to read. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I will I'm gonna. Sitting next to me.
Danny, what are some of the thoughts? Because I know we differ. Like, so we both agree that like kind of the first little bit kind of wasn't our jam. But where we sort of disagree here is kind of the implications of what's mentioned within the book here. So kind of take me through your thoughts about like that last quarter.
So I guess, like, okay, so I guess my issue is that like nothing in this book was particularly like earth-shattering for my view of what's going on at this point in time because we kind of already know that some of this stuff has happened. So, like, yeah, the Astronomicon going out is real bad. Like, and that's like, and the after effects of that were described in one of Chris Wright's other books. And so I was already prepared for that, I guess.
Well, I try to remember this book came out last summer that we're reading. So,
but I think it even came out after the Emperor's Legion one did.
It did.
The Watchers of the Throne by a long time because I remember seeing like hearing the rift open across the galaxy and like the legions of Khorne appearing in Terra, and I'm like, oh shit, that's really bad. And now we have like a bunch of really well trained psychers died inside a mountain. It's like the stakes are a little different.
Right. That's true.
I think it just paints a different picture of what was happening at that time, which is kind of nice.
Well, gives you a different view. Like
Yeah.
Right.
you're kind of zooming in a little bit more.
Yeah.
What about the?
So overall, I thought the writing was fine. Like it was. I said that as a description of the book before. The writing was good. Like in general, I just thought the pacing wasn't as good, and so like I'd still give it like a B- if I were going to give it a grade.
I still enjoyed it.
Okay.
I still like where the story's going. This is a very what's the word I'm looking for? Beast Arises suffered from this a little bit, but this was a bookkeeping movie where they have where they have characters and they have to have them going in certain directions and have to have certain motivations. And I feel like this book was a setup book more than anything else there, because Danny's sort of writing a way that in terms of ground shattering information, I mean, it wasn't sort of like Carrying the Throne where you're finding out, oh, there's a Xenos and Terra. Oh, these people brought it here. You know, God, the throne is for sure broken.
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff was kind of confirmed in Carrying the Throne, and this one has seemed to be more like a directional book.
All right. So let me tell you why I as soon as I finished this book, I realized exactly what it was about this book that made me like it so much. I love Empire Strikes Back. I think it's probably my favorite Star Wars movie. We're not going to get into like ranking Star Wars movies, John. I know where you stand. Okay, so
I'm a Return of the Jedi guy.
But this book, after looking back at the first book, is Empire Strikes Back to a T. All right, it ends. They've kind of succeeded on what they wanted, but not really. They're beaten. They're broken. And they have to continue on their mission. All right. The first book ended great. They blew up the Death Star. I mean, killed the homunculus before it could turn off the Emperor. And then they go and they're running, and then they're besieged, and they're on their new base at their base, and then they're doing stuff. And I think the third book is going to be Return of the Jedi. I think we will find a direct tie to Return of the Jedi.
I mean, was it Empire though?
It was. It was totally Empire, dude. They get besieged. They got to go out and attack and go out and go to someplace else to accomplish something, and they end up just barely recovering from that and escaping.
I mean, dude, that's like Ocean's 13 as well. Then it's. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's.
I mean, this is my take on it, though.
No, for sure, and your opinion is loved and valued as you are. It's just, yeah, I guess I see that. I have a, like, Empire is such a weird one, right? Because it ends, a lot of stuff happens, a lot of pieces move, but it's dark. It's a really dark ending. And I think this book suffers a little bit by the fact that it's not really that dark, because, yeah, we know the rift happens and we know this stuff happens here.
The Astronomicon goes out, John.
Right.
It's clearly dark.
Right, but we know, like, the problem is we know exactly what happens afterwards for hundreds of years after. And this is the issue with, like, stories post-Rift is, yeah, we have this great playground where, like, stories can take place at any time because time works differently in the Rift. But we have this Rift on Terra. We have this Hollow Mountain book that's released. We already know the outcome of what happens on Terra from Watchers of the Throne. We already know the outcome of the Great Rift from Dark Imperium and Plague War and kind of stuff like that. And even so far as the Psychic Awakening series, we know what's going to happen. So it takes away some of like the desperation I felt at the end of Empire watching it, not knowing what's going to happen. You know, not knowing if they're going to get Han back, like all that other kind of stuff there.
True, I guess.
I mean, that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I tend to read these books without thinking about the other stuff that's going on in the universe at the time when I'm reading one of these stories, so I can just get involved in it. So,
yeah,
yeah, no, I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the book a lot, actually. I'm with you. The beginning was very, very hard, if you will, to get into.
Yeah. And then yeah, but it's still good. I feel it's not a good standalone. It's a great addition to the series.
Yes, that's why I said I felt like it could have been part of the first book, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
if
it
they
could have
had
just been one big book instead of, because it's not very long. You
No.
know,
That's fair.
it's
Yeah.
only 271 pages. So as far as like some of their books go, it's kind of short. You
Right.
know.
right. And like I said, it might have been a sort of thing where and it does feel too much for one book, not enough for two. If we're looking at kind of the two of the things together, and I think, even thinking about it, that's why I think some of the scenes were like elongated, and we spent longer in some areas. Or if it's kind of like, well, shit, Chris, let's make this 2 books. And he's like, well, I guess I'm writing 15 pages describing how the sun looks from this angle.
Amazing. It was
Oh,
amazing.
Yeah, not a bad thing
smoggy.
whatsoever.
But yeah,
that's
I give it an A for me, actually.
an A,
You know, it's an A, an alpha.
an alpha. I give it a B. That's all B. Like I said, I think the problem being, like, I found the first like third was okay for me because it kind of was recapping what happened in Carrying Throne, taking some of those loose threads. Lost me a little in the middle, but then when they kind of do the assault on Hollow Mountain, that was when it really kind of kicked in for me, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking amazing. But then I also realized, hey, this is me with every Black Library book right now. Is like disinterest for the first little bit, and then the last third is like, oh shit, okay, this is really good. Yeah, I would say a good B, which I think averages out to a B if it goes B minus B and A, right?
Sure.
So making me the winner of this episode of Cups.
Oh, so you're saying that the person that guessed last what the average grade was going to be?
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here with that.
Seriously.
Not and it's a competition.
Yeah. You guys didn't know it was in a competition? That sounds like a you issue. We're gonna Dave, anything else you want to add about Golden Throne? Oh, Golden Throne, fuck. Anything else you want to add about Hollow Mountain?
No, I really enjoyed it to the point where as soon as I finished it, I immediately tweeted at Chris Wright to ask him if he was drawing inspiration from the original Star Wars series, because it felt like it to me. I enjoyed it, which means that I probably will not enjoy the third book because I didn't like Jedi as much. But
Oh man, Jedi
that's
was
just me.
so good. Jedi was the best one.
It's no prequels.
Jedi was the best one. All right, we're gonna take our last break with Danny's favorite advert, and then we're gonna come back and wrap this bad boy up.
Earl Hagen was a legend. In 1960, he whistled his way into Hollywood and into our hearts. Decades later, he made a comeback, lending those lustrous lips in the 1980s to such bands as the Scorpions, Guns N' Roses, and Pat Benatar. A half-century after his humble beginnings, he's at it again. This time without cumbersome musical accompaniment, he'll have you wetting your whistle and whistling along. His new album, Earl Whistles Disney, is sure to be a hit with all generations. Order now and receive a bonus album, Earl Whistles More Shit, a collection of previously unreleased material of Earl's favorite songs through the years. On this bonus album, he demonstrates his newly mastered technique of inward whistling. Order yours today on compact disc or double-length cassette. Also available at fine retailers such as Walgreens, CVS, and participating Sam Goody stores. Earl Whistles Disney. Buy it today.
That is an instant purchase for anyone who hears that advert right there.
I've been practicing my
Basically the
inward.
perfect advertisement.
It's perfect. So, hey, Danny, there's some questions from our Discord here. We have our Mob Rule Discord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which
Someone
you can gain access to for as little as $1 a month
a dollar
through our Patreon.
pretty much once. I don't have the discipline to go through and double check stuff. But Panana Beals, artist extraordinaire, Chicagoan. Hey, you think Ant-Man has a water-based alt-universe variant that's that fish that swims up your urethra? Kanduri Man?
Kanduro Man. I hope not.
I'm just gonna aubergine this comment.
It's a stupid supervillain or hero. I mean,
No, dude, if you're swimming up someone's pee hole, you're swimming up a dick, you're a villain. I don't care.
I mean, what superhero does that?
Well, if you read the newer comics, I'm sure that Ant-Man has gotten shrunk down enough that he could get into the body like that. I mean, it's just a way in. He's
I'm sure
considered a hero, right?
Always.
It depends which Ant-Man, I guess, and how you feel about domestic violence.
Jesus Christ. That's book 3 of the Vaults of Terror series. Is when it deals with domestic violence. Heresy in the household.
Falls down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, the heresy in your household PSAs are quite enlightening. Some housekeeping. So recently we embarked on an open play narrative campaign as a palate cleanser for competitive gaming after LVO. Thankfully, life is giving us a palate cleansing break from competitive wargaming.
If only we had known.
So yeah, our narrative campaign is on hold. We plan to continue as soon as is able. But we were at a situation where we were playing over the phone, and I was pretending I didn't have the bandwidth so Dave could read my tape measure or dice correctly. He didn't believe I got 46s. It was a whole thing. So yeah, we will resume that once there's a little bit of normality around. Is the plan there?
That's fair.
That's fair, right? It's hard to play games when you're not allowed to leave your house.
Could you give me some advance notice, because I've kind of taken a break from painting the chaos. I'd like to be able to paint the chaos to get back ready to go.
Absolutely.
Before we start.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's some housekeeping on that there. Other housekeeping, we will continue to produce content throughout. We'll be fun and remote until time says to do so, as we are fine, upstanding, middle-aged citizens of the world. But
we're both fun and remote.
That's right. That's right. We're used to being remote, being up here in Alaska.
Yeah, now everybody else knows how it feels. Suck on that, Wayne Brady.
But yeah, luckily, unlike other podcasts, we are not necessarily beholden to actually having to play. The majority of you listen to us to hear us say really stupid shit that doesn't really equate to things.
And laugh, because we're kind of like your friends sitting around the table hanging out, painting,
Apart from you. You know who you are. You.
Well.
Yeah.
It's me.
Fuck you.
Best.
Boys, what else do we have to add?
Well, we would be remiss if we did not mention the Rogue Trader Network, where you can find other great podcasts that are not actually tied to competitive gaming, except for the New Zealand one. Those guys are fucked right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mainly because of the model prices, not necessarily because of this shutdown here. Yeah. NZ40 Cabal.
And the Nazgul.
Yeah, NZ40 Cabal in the land of Lord of the Rings. Talking about the New Zealand competitive scene, but mainly just shit talking.
Right now, yeah. You've got the High Lords of Terra still doing great stuff, reviewing, just kind of talking about lore and stuff like that. And then, unfortunately, if you are in the South, you can only get the Dangly Boys, apparently.
Because, yeah, so Southern Internet is regionally locked to the content you can get.
You have to like them.
Dangly Boys. They're what Florida would be if it was a podcast.
Oh. There's a Florida Man podcast, so...
Yeah, but those guys are really good.
Yeah.
Those guys are Brohammer. The Florida Man podcast is Brohammer.
Yeah, Dangly Boys, the podcast that would register as Brohammer to avoid playing you.
Dangly Boys. The Bible Belt of podcasts.
Oh my God, Seth! Please listen. I hope you listen to this, Seth.
Oh, he does. That's his fault, especially now. But yeah, definitely check out Dangly Boys as well. I think everyone in the Rogue Trader Network has the benefit of being able to shit talk for an hour and a half, at least once a month. So you have a lot of great content right there.
Yeah, some of you, I can't wait for people to start finding us. Yeah, there's so many podcasts right now that have nothing. This 40. I feel bad for 40K Stats Center because they're funny, but they're not.
Holy shit! Can I just hear real quick? Soapbox. Soapbox. Soapbox! Hey, competitive 40K, stop fucking just posting 40,000 notifications to my fucking timeline that someone released a YouTube video. It's too much. It's too much right now. It's pretty bad. That's all I got. That's all my soapbox.
Comp 40K. You're home for links to other people's not actually playing comp stuff right now.
Yeah, you have like Knights of the Game Table, the spiky bits of coaching services like on there all the time. You have like, I don't know, like Vanguard Tactics asking you to name his studio, but not taking my box suggestion.
That was a really good suggestion.
It was
right up there with Mick Boxy Box.
Yeah. The cramp zone is another one I suggested for that, but that didn't take neither. But yeah, it's weird seeing the world adapt. Hey, also Soapbox, don't play Tabletop Simulator. It's trash. How the fuck are you meant to move stuff without causing a physics-based explosion on the table? Not a fan. Josh and I, we tried to play Titanicus over it last week. All I did was end up throwing knights at a location I thought Josh would be standing at. It didn't work.
like actual Josh?
Yeah, like me and Josh, we were on Steam. We were
I mean you trying to throw where you thought he actually was?
Yeah, so because it has like a little
knights?
marker on the side of the table where the camera is for the other player. So I just kept throwing like Warlord Titans at that camera because I figured out how to do that. But apparently you need to like, so fuck the Titanicus mod. You have a Warlord Titan, and then you have a base, and then I have to manually figure out a way to attach him to his base. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to read like a 15-minute tutorial to do this.
Well, I think Danny has said it best when he was quoted earlier for describing Tabletop Simulator.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It works. It
It'll
allows
do.
you to, I mean, it's like off-brand meth. You're still going to get a little high, but it's probably going to definitely leave you angry.
But yeah, man, the desperation of Comp 40K right now is just like meth heads trying to search the couch for like spare change to buy their next hit at this point. It's...
Though I think a lot of it, John, might be that you and I just don't understand it properly because
I'm
Nate,
old.
one of the guys in our Discord is actually running a tournament right now because of he has the High Lords Martial Championship thing they're doing on there, which I caught a little bit of, and it's actually not bad.
I am old. I refuse to learn technology. I figured you would at least be with me on this, Dave. I don't need your sass right now.
I'm 100% with you. I'm trying not to diminish anybody else's enjoyment of it. I'm trying to take my earlier advice from the soapbox.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Hey, Danny, what is your soapbox time? We've both soapbox. It's time for you to soapbox.
I don't have a soapbox.
No, because you're too busy playing Dark Heresy with a bunch of cool people.
Oh,
Hit that end credit button, John.
I'm also doing that.
no.
Available on our Patreon.
Yeah,
At some point, yeah.
because Danny's going to send me the file and I'm going to cut it up episodically like an asshole.
Oh, do you really want the file? Because I had no idea to do that, and I will happily send that to you.
Oh, no, yeah, send me the file and I'll cut it up into 30-minute segments.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, look for that as well.
Just the audio for that, John. If you're
No, I'll take it all. Yeah, that's
what she said.
that's all we have, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Probably another.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry in advance. Probably another book review. Maybe something crazy like a army list challenge.
An Iron General. Ooh.
Iron General. That's
haven't
what
done
it
that in a
was.
while.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
Can we do Iron General, but also play a Dave game where we invite in some listeners?
We absolutely can, because that is
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
100% more planning than we got in. So next time we're gonna do Iron General. We're going to invite some listeners to come play the Dave games with us, and then we're going to talk to some members of our comp team up here as well, I think, and bring in some of the local 40K personalities.
Please be Aaron. Please be Aaron. Please be Aaron.
It'll be someone.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
It'll be fun.
It's fine.
But yeah, we will see you in 2 weeks. Reach out if you want to play Space Hulk on Steam. Reach out to me. I'd love to play. But for mob rules, I'm just desperate cries for help now at this point.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But
Between
Please
eating
be
celery.
friends with me.
Please be my Steam buddy.
please be friends. For mob rules, I've been John.
I've been Dave.
I've been Danny.
And we'll see you next time. Dave, that was a beautiful recap of that book.
I tried to. I know that you guys don't like that, so I tried to really summer it up as quickly as possible.
No, it was perfect because like I was just having the hardest time like that, like middle third sticking. I was like, oh Jesus Christ.
Well, it helps that I listened to the whole damn thing today, basically.
I listened to 6 hours of it today, which is
I know,
about half of
sounds
it.
like we all were.
Yeah. I freed up.
When you posted that, when you posted it earlier, I was like, holy shit, I'm farther along in the book than he is.
I saved up all my admin time and I sat in the little empty corner of my cafe and just like had my AirPods in, pretending to type while I listened to the novel.
Nice. Hey, let's
Fucking
real talk for
classy.
a minute about the article.
Okay, I guess I'll stop
articles.
I guess I'll stop recording then. Give me a second.
Oh yeah, please.